Hey guys, it's Danny here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a little mini elevated raised garden. Now, this can be for people that find it hard to bend down, are not able to move a lot, or just someone that wants something that's, a little bit easier to garden with. These are designed moreover for like vegetables, small fruits, but you can honestly make it like a raised flower garden, whatever you want. So I'm going to do a little bit of both of that. So let's get started. But today I only have 3 different plants. I'm going to go over each one. Here we have a ghost pepper. Now I did buy this one exactly a year ago in an HEB around Houston, Texas. Ghost peppers typically should do well in my climate, zone 10, deep south Texas. This one looks like it's kind of dormant, doesn't have a lot of leaves on it, but you know what, it's still green. Perfect. Here we have an English lavender, the cultivar elegance. So this one was a clearance plant that I got at Walmart on sale. I mean, hey, that's how you shop. And this one always dies on me in the past. I've never been able to grow it in the ground. So I'm gonna actually try growing it here, where I have more control over the soil, everything, plant food. So that's gonna be plant number 2. And last but not least is plant number 3. This is a freak Shasta daisy. And this one is a smaller variety. It only gets maybe 1.5 feet, close to 2 feet wide, maybe a foot tall. If it ever gets too big, I can always just remove it, but this is just something to give it some color in the meantime. And then I do plan to add other, maybe like a little tomato to trail over, a strawberry here or there, something like that. But this is enough to get started, so let's get to it. So the materials I'm going to be using today are some flower and vegetable garden soil. Now this should be enough because, I'm also going to be planting the plants and those will have potting soil as well. I'm also going to be using a shovel just to help me spread around if I need to mix some soils. I prefer not to use gloves, just using my hands, kind of like earthing. I do also have some coconut coir, I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's like the organic soil. I've heard mixed reviews about it. Some sites say it's good, some experts say no, some people I've talked to say no, but I know it helps with making sure the area is well drained. So I might mix some of that in there just so it's easier for the plants to spread their roots and get established in the little bed. All right, so now that we have all the materials that we need, also optional at the very end is some mulch just to put a thin layer over. That's optional, you don't have to, but shovel, potting soil, and we're ready to go. So let's get started. Here's just an overview of the soil. This one was on sale at Lowe's, 4 bags for $10, I believe, something like that. Don't quote me on it. The lavender, the pepper, and the daisy. Now it is also important to note that inside the bed I do have like this gardening fabric in here because there are spaces in between the wood blocks. So this fabric serves both to retain the soil and help retain some of the moisture while allowing excess water to drip through. So that's going to be very important so you don't have a bed that's too dry or too wet. All right, so we're ready to begin. I'm just going to get this bag right here, open it up, pour it all in there, all of it. I just want to make sure that nothing spills out, so I'm just going to do it kind of slowly. Use the shovel to help spread it around. Okay, so I haven't poured all the soil yet, but one thing that's very important is to make sure that the flaps in the fabric are upwards, so that way if they're facing down like this, soils and water are going to escape. So just make sure they're all facing upwards. Let some of the soil in. Same thing, you can spread it to the edges like so, that way the flaps do stay upwards. And then once you're sure that they are, you can just pour the rest of the bag in there. All right, so after spreading all the soil out from the one bag, I'm using my little shovel that's also like a ruler, and it went 3 inches deep. So that's not bad. There's still another 4 inches or so. So I am gonna mix just about a small amount of that coconut coir. I'm still not sure if that's how you pronounce it. In here, just even it out a bit. We're gonna mix that in just a little bit, nothing too bad. And I'm also going to add some leftover potting soil from old plants that I bought on clearance that either did not make it or, yeah, basically. All right, so don't pay attention to the label, the brand on this bag. This is just a bag where I put a lot of potting soil from old plants that I've either bought on clearance that did not make it. Sometimes I will buy the plants on clearance even though they're dying or they're annuals just for the soil because it's at a really good price. Sometimes, you know, 50 cents for a good sized pot. Some of the soil mixing here does have that mycorrhizae, I'm still not sure how you pronounce it, but that beneficial fungus, so that's only gonna help whatever else we put in here. So I'm just gonna get some of this, mix it in there, add maybe another inch or two, and we'll be set. All right, so I poured some in there. Just keep in mind and bear with me in the fact that I'm not getting very specific or measuring anything. I'm just kind of guesstimating. This is supposed to be fun. Now, the plants I'm going to plant in here are not things that, you know, are rare or anything like that. It's just for fun, for color, for beauty, and for some fruits and veggies. So just have fun with it. Yours is not going to look like this. If you do it, just have fun with it. As long as you have the right components, you'll be fine. All right, now right now what I'm doing is I'm just breaking up the soil pieces. Some of the soil is just really dry, so or have like dead roots in there. So I just want to make sure that it's broken up nice and good before I mix it in. Otherwise, we're gonna get a lot of clumps. And you know, not that that's a bad thing, but it's just better to and easier to work with smooth soil. So, you know, this looks more or less good. As we're mixing it in and stuff, it's gonna break apart the chunks that are still left, so we're good. All right, so now we're just gonna dig deep, pour up, dig deep, pour up. Just want to mix it all, get a nice soil mixture going. When using the shovel, try not to scrape the fabric because if you peel it from the edges, that's just gonna cause problems, so just be mindful of that. One thing I was thinking while I'm doing this is that I could have actually poured half and half soil mixture side by side and mixed them like that, or done, you know, half of the potting soil, half of the leftover soil, then the other half of the potting soil and the other half of the leftover, but nonetheless, things are looking really good. All right, so I just finished mixing everything. Now looking at the shovel, we got to 4 inches, so we added a good extra inch of potting soil in there, so everything is all set. It's nice and mixed. You can see that it's very easy to grab, falls apart. That means it's well drained, and since it is potting soil with nutrients specifically for flower beds, you know, the plants are going to be well taken care of and they're going to have the nutrients that they need to survive. All right, cool. So now that we have the soil ready, it's nice and mixed, everything's right, we can get to the planting. So I think the first one I'm going to do is the Freak Shasta Daisy. Since this one can get relatively big, I'm going to plant this like towards the back, you know, make it a back corner. That way you have the flowers in the front, maybe some short vegetables in the front. We can maybe put a tomato that hangs over, a strawberry, something like that. All right, so we're going to have the Shasta Daisy in the back. We can just measure out the pot. Okay, so it's going to be something small. Since this is all potting soil, you really don't need to dig it. You can just kind of dig your hand in there. Well, you are digging with your hand, I guess, but not with a shovel. You're just going to spread everything out. Just make a hole for it. All right, so this is the hole. We're just going to test it out. Place the pot, surrounding soil. All right. Now, it does look like the pot is a little too elevated, but keep in mind that the soil in the pot is relatively low. It's not right at the tip, so this should work. Using the plant while it's still in the pot is a good guide to tell you whether or not the hole is deep enough and wide enough, so that way you're not damaging the roots of the plant while you're just measuring it. Alrighty, so I just removed the plant and its roots from the pot. We're just gonna place that in there. We're just gonna tug at the roots a little bit. That way they can start growing outwards and are not confined to the circular shape of the pot. All right, so now that we have the Shasta Daisy in the ground, we'll just push all the potting soil around it from all sides, especially the back. We do want to make sure that it is completely covered. Okay, so it does look like we're missing some soil here. This is from the original root ball and the surrounding soil isn't as tall, but keep in mind we are planting other plants, so when you add in those soils, the entire bed will be elevated a bit as far as soil level. All right, so now that we have the Shasta Daisy planted, the next one we're going to do or plant is the English lavender. Now, I think since this one is an herb, we can go ahead and place this somewhere in the center. So let's just get the soil ready. Let's move everything out of the way. Now, since it is a bigger plant, we can do center back, more towards the back than towards the front to allow for something shorter to be in the front. All right. Okay. Looks like that's gonna work. I'm just gonna loosen the roots. Mix the soil back in. Now this one does look like its root ball is gonna be too tall. So in this case, what we can do is, you see a lot of these black roots here, that means that they're kind of dead. They're not really full of life. So in this case, it's okay to peel off some of the soil. You'll see that the live roots are gonna be a tannish, whitish color or more brown. The black ones are just no longer living. So in this case, it's okay. You tear it off. See, we have some of the live roots right there. These are alive. You can tell they're not dry. All right, so just mix in the soil. There we go. That looks a lot better. Push it in, make sure it's nice and covered everywhere. And then the leftover soil that we had, we're just gonna spread it around. It's still good soil. Just mix it all nice and good. So now we have 2 plants done, and the soil level is rising a little bit because we are adding soil with every plant that we plant in the bed. And voila. Alrighty, so last but not least, we do have the infamous ghost pepper, which was once the most spiciest pepper in the world. Now its rank has been deduced a bit, but nonetheless, it's gonna go in this little garden. Now, this tag from HEB says that it should be planted 18 to 24 inches apart, which would be 2 feet apart. However, upon doing some research online, I read they can grow significantly tall, several feet actually. But seeing as how it's in this bed, I don't think it will grow that big. And if it does look like it's thriving and it's gonna grow big, I can always just remove it because this is all potting soil. So, you know, it's not bounded by much, and I can just put it in a bigger pot or plant in the ground. But at least this will give it the best chance at survival with some little leaves budding out already. Same thing as before, we're just gonna, now this one, since it can get tall, we're gonna put this in the very, very back corner. Push all the potting soil out. Make sure we remove the tag. Wow. Okay, so there was very little soil in this pot. It did have a root going into the ground. So the fact that it still has leaves and is green is, you know, is a fighter. That's what we want. You know, when you think about plants, really, all plants have the desire and the will to live. Now, we hear about finicky plants and we get discouraged and it's like, oh, I can't grow this won't grow in your area. Fun fact about me, I challenge myself to grow things in my backyard that are not supposed to grow in deep South Texas, and yet somehow I have it going. I have an Anna apple tree. Apples are not supposed to grow down here. I do have nectarines, peaches, plums, pears, pineapples. Well, pineapples can grow in my climate. I do have berries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, none of which should grow in my area. So don't be discouraged just because you've been told or it looks like something's not going to grow in your area, because you never know. I think with a little TLC and just microclimating or just giving the plants some extra love, what they need, maybe a different soil range, slightly more acidic, slightly sandier, you know, there's nothing that you can't grow. So here we are, the little garden is complete. All right, so the very last step will just be to water. Since some of the potting soil was dry, there's not a lot of moisture in there, so it's a good thing to water just the whole bed. Alrighty guys, that just about wraps up this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and do comment what else you want me to plant in the front row. I was thinking maybe some strawberries, tomatoes, peppers, who knows, but I do want to hear from you guys, and let me know what other videos you want to see me do regarding some gardening. So thank you so much. You all have an amazing day and take care. Bye. I do love growing different types of milkweed. As you can see here, I use the water germination method, which was mentioned to me by Brad Grimm. I will be doing a video on that soon. All of these cool plants, including the ones in my garden that are already planted, will be showcased on my new Instagram, which will be called A Dose of Danny's Garden. So go ahead and please follow me and comment on anything you like, everything you want to see, and you guys have a great day. Take care.